Welcome to episode 13 of the series called Building a Real RAP Application Step by Step. In this episode, we will focus on item consistency and completeness. We will prevent duplicate products within the same request and enforce mandatory item fields at save time. In the previous episode, we restricted product selection to an internal catalog and exposed only available products through a value help. Now that item creation is controlled, the next step is to ensure items are both consistent and complete. We will start with user story 17, which ensures that the same product cannot be added more than once to a request. This will complement the validation we added in the previous episode for checking whether a product is allowed. Next, we will jump into user story 20, which enforces mandatory fields at item level so incomplete items cannot be saved. Let's start by reading the user story. User story 17. Unique products per request. As a system, I want to prevent duplicate products within a request so that the items remain consistent. To prevent duplicate products, we will add a validation at the request item behavior level. This validation will run on save both for creation and update and will react specifically to changes in the product ID field. Before implementing the logic, we add a message that clearly explains the violation. Only one item can have a given product ID within the same request. In the implementation, we will first read all items belonging to the affected request. Then we will track combinations of request and product using a sorted table with a unique key. If an insert fails, it means the product already exists for that request, so we will block the save and report an error. This approach should work for both inline editing and pop-up based item creation, and it keeps the rule entirely on the backend. There it goes. And this also works as expected. The only difference is when using the object page for the items, we will now need to change the value or select it and wipe it out. Now that we are done with this user story, let's go ahead and proceed to read the next one. User story 20. Make item fields mandatory. As a system, I want to ensure that the data entered through the product object page is complete. Next, we will enforce completeness at item level. We will start by marking the product, quantity, and unit fields as mandatory in the behavior definition. But, as we have already seen before, this only affects the UI. It does not enforce the rule at save time. To actually enforce the rule, we will introduce a validation that runs on save, both for creation and update. We also add a dedicated message to indicate which field is missing for a given item. The implementation will follow the same pattern we used earlier at header level. We will dynamically determine which fields are mandatory, read the current item data, and compare both. If a mandatory field is empty, we will block the save and return a precise message pointing to the missing field. This will ensure consistent behavior across UI and API consumers. In order to speed up things, I will copy and paste the code here. As we said, it's mainly the same as the one we use for header fields with certain changes. For example, we are pointing to request item instead of request. We are reading the same as for the entity we are reading. Let's now switch back to the system and test this last change. In this episode, we implemented user stories 17 and 20. We prevented duplicate products within a request and enforced mandatory fields at item level, ensuring item data is both consistent and complete. In the next episode, we will add the final rules to the request lifecycle by improving item presentation and locking completed requests from further changes.